Hi everyone, welcome to Thursday Thoughts. Today I am going to share my thoughts on the labor shortage and what we can do to help you through this labor shortage, okay? So I'm getting feedback from a lot of bakeries that they are having a hard time just staffing at the lowest level, right? Because you're fighting with all these other restaurant and minimal wage kind of labor shortage. I mean, today itself, I saw Amazon's just paying someone $300 a day just to do postcards. That's how bad it is. I mean, on top of the coffee and the rice and commodity shortages, and Biden just working through the Port of LA to get it to run 24 hours a day. We are just going through a tremendously challenging time in our bakery lives. Okay. So you're wondering, what in the world is she talking about? How can she help me in my labor shortage? Well, think about professionally developing your plant workers. Okay, the bottom line, the dishwashers, the sanitation team members. Think about training them and promoting them instead of hiring from somewhere else to bring it back in. All right, so you can do this through our courses right now. We have 3 bread module courses that will cover the main ingredients for mixing. All right, so what you can do is share this video with whoever's in charge of hiring these personnel and show them what training you could possibly give to, say, someone who comes in and fill different spots in your plant. And what would it take to train that particular person to fill the mixer operator or the oven operator spots, right? Because obviously those spots are more requires more knowledge and more maturity in the job. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you an example of what our paid modules look like. And there have been questions on, hey, what's the difference, Lynn, between the paid BCB 1, 2, and 3 bread modules versus the Baker Academy where you teach for free? The main difference is these paid modules are not sponsored. So we have put in a lot of time and research into these paid modules to make sure that the research and knowledge in there are up to date, for you to take and understand. And we'll make it really simple. Within 30 minutes, you get trained. And there is a PDF to download. There is a task taking session to it, and there is a video section to it. So these 3 would make up a paid module, and it's only $150 per course. So it's not going to break the bank for you. I know you may be a smaller baking company and you may have 10, 20 people to train. So this might just help you through this labor shortage. Okay, so stay tuned right now to get a sample of what this may look like.
This is what is unique to gluten. It is composed of 75 to 80% protein. The remaining portion of vital wheat gluten actually contains 15 to 17% carbohydrates, 5 to 8% fat, and 0.6 to 1.2% ash. During the mixing, the gluten-forming proteins absorbs the water and swell to realign and create the gluten matrix that aids in gas retention. Due to its cohesive and viscoelastic properties, gluten's main function is as a strengthener. It strengthens through the gluten in proteins by creating the strength and elastic property in the dough, the gliadin proteins by creating the fluid or viscous property in the viscoelastic dough, the ratio of gluten resistance, elastic, to gluten extensibility, viscosity, is an indicator of gluten strength, and a higher proportion, percent, implies stronger gluten. This slide illustrates the different functional properties of gluten. The key role for gluten is water absorption. It determines the amount of water that goes into the dough. It improves yield, softness, and shelf life. Being a film former, it helps retain gas produced by the yeast, and this provides the volume. As an emulsifier, it binds fat and water, which makes for a better texture. Mentioned previously as a strengthener, it helps endure machinability. Therefore, it acts as processing aid, making the dough last through the dough pumps, dividers, and sheeters. Gluten also stabilizes the wheat dough system because its network reinforces the structure of the dough. As a thermosetting agent, it helps the structure set and provide the rigidity and mouth-feel of a wheat bread. Lastly, as a texturizer, the increase in gluten quantity gives a crustier and chewy bite. In these next 3 slides, we will talk about the different forms of gluten that you can use. The first form is vital wheat gluten. It is produced by a low-temperature drying of gluten extracted from high-quality flour. This is the most commonly used form with the absorption ability of 140 to 180% its weight. It is 75% in vitality, which means 75% of vital wheat gluten is functionally able to hydrate and form an intrinsically functional viscoelastic network. Its total protein content is about 73%. The second form is called devitalized wheat gluten, which comes already denatured. This also means that it is non-functional, thus lacking viscoelasticity. So why use it? Well, it will really help in your product development efforts, especially if you want to increase protein content of your product without making the dough too bucky. Its protein content is about 80%. The third form of gluten that we can use is solubilized wheat protein. Most of the solubilized wheat protein ingredients today are made from hydrolysis, using several commercial enzymes. It is better suited to function as a foam stabilizer, as it improves water holding and fat absorption capacity. Its protein content is roughly around 60%. Here's a tip. Vital wheat gluten can be used whenever the protein of the flour is too low for the desired product. Yes, even if you want to enhance your bun flour to make bagels. This is called protein enhancement. Vital wheat gluten improves the mixing tolerance and fermentation stability. It also improves the volume, therefore providing a softer crumb. Gluten cannot function properly without water. Therefore, hydration of gluten is important, and these are the effects. Dispersibility causes mobility in the dough system, making it possible for the alignment and realignment of molecules. Coagulation results in the firming or strengthening property of the gluten and is activated upon hydration. Dough formation is caused by molecular bonds, strengthening between gluten to starch, emulsifiers, and the interaction to all microingredients. Gel formation happens during the bake when the gluten gels and sets the final structure of the product. The swelling behavior of water-loving or hydrophilic sites on gluten increases in order to realign and disperse. The thickening power of gluten upon hydration includes binding, strengthening, gelling, and can be labeled as thickening. Applications outside of yeast-raised products exploit this behavior more predominantly. A change in glass transition happens. During dough mixing, starch and gluten proteins interact with water molecules. Here, water acts as a plasticizer, providing molecular mobility and allowing a glass transition to occur. In this scenario, the flour, or the glassy material, transforms into a dough, or the rubbery material. Click on the glass transition link to learn more about this phenomenon. Water absorption of gluten, again, is about 140 to 180% of its weight. Therefore, every additional pound of vital wheat gluten added requires at least an additional 1.4 pounds of water.
I hope that works because, yeah, we had an issue with the video player. Hopefully, people can hear me. And I'm sorry for the brain squealing a minute ago. So, you have just witnessed a example of our Baker Certified module. So that particular segment is from our first module, which we went into the basics of flour and gluten. And that's so important because that's where your fundamentals start. Let's not look at other things like, I don't know, fats or enzymes or processing aids. Let's just focus on wheat flour and gluten first. Get the basics done, down, firm, and then we start building on it. Okay? So I hope this gives you an indication of what we are teaching in Baker Certified. And if you have any more questions, or if you want to train more than 10 people, we would be able to provide you a volume discount. Okay? So just let us know, send us an email to support@bakerpedia.com. All right? Stay awesome, bakers. Let's live through this pandemic and its challenging issues. Bye.